Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Self-Made CEO podcast, episode 8. Today, we have our very first case study. I'm sitting here with Tess Levine, food blogger, recipe creator, and founder and CEO of Fluff Cups. And we're going to talk all about how she started her business, some of the struggles that she has faced, and her advice for you guys if you guys want to get out there and start something new, start a business, take a risk. We're going to get on into that in this episode. Stay tuned.
My name is Adrienne Finch, and I believe wholeheartedly that anyone from any background can create the success and happiness that they want. With my proven productivity hacks, business tactics, and a little mindset coaching, this podcast will unlock your greatest potential and transform you into the CEO of your own life, business, happiness, and success. So what are you waiting for? This is the Self-Made CEO podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Self-Made CEO podcast. I am your host, Adrienne Finch. If you didn't know, I'm the host by now. That's weird, but it's me. Hi. So today is episode 8. We are just moving right along. Can't believe it's already week 8, but I do definitely say this like every single week. But we are actually doing our very first case study this week. So I'm going to start a thing right here on the podcast where I interview guests who have started businesses, who want to start businesses, who are veterans in the business world, in any industry, and really just get a feel for their story, the struggles they've gone through, how they became successful, or, what their goals are for the future, and how this can pertain to you guys. So today we have our first guest, Tess Levine. She is not only a food blogger, a recipe creator, pastry chef, and also the founder and CEO of Fluff Cups, which is, I'll let her talk about it in a second, but she is not only all of those things, but is also one of my dear friends. So I'm so happy you're here in the studio.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Duh, thanks
and
for
I
being
love your
here.
podcast.
Oh my God, thanks. That's so nice. Thank you. No, I'm so happy you're here. Also, again, we're in the studio. You guys, if you haven't checked out the behind the scenes video, or not behind the scenes, the video versions of this podcast, definitely recommend. The link is in the show notes just because it looks so legit and official and I love it. So I would just love to start out kind of by talking about just your story, how you started. What I love about you is that you are a recent college graduate.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of people listening are either still in college, maybe even in high school, or maybe just recently graduated. But you're right in that prime time of, when people want to start businesses or start a new venture and potentially are scared of taking risks. And you seem like you came right out the gates. You started it right away. It's super inspiring and I think relatable to a lot of our audience. So
yeah, I
would love to just hear a little bit about your story. How did you start this? What made you want to start this? What even got you into pastry chefing?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think it's the prime time, right out of school or when you're young. That's when everyone says it's your time to fail if you can. And
honestly, yeah, true.
Which is so true. So I started baking really young. My mom, she literally made banana bread every single week and put it in our lunches. I still have people coming to me and messaging me and oh my God, I miss your mom's banana bread from 5th grade.
I love banana bread.
I know, I'm craving it right now as I say it. But so when I was in high school, I was I want to add to our family recipes. I'm going to try cupcakes. And it was very much trial and error. The first one tasted like cornbread. It was this is yummy, but this is not a cupcake.
Yeah.
And it was just so much fun for me. It was fun with my family, with friends. It was just a time to come together. And so it was always a hobby. It was always something that was therapeutic to me. And I just took that with me when I went to college. And I was I just like it. I'm stressed about school. I'm going to make cookies and I'm going to eat them all.
Was there an oven that you could bake in at school?
Not in the dorms, but once I had an apartment, I had those rink-a-dink ovens.
Yeah,
I was
totally.
Okay, I can make some cookies in here.
Yeah.
But fast forward to graduating, so that was 2017. I graduated from USC and I studied marketing and went into working right away at a studio and then also in advertising. And to be honest, I just really hated my job, so much. I was this can't be life. This can't be what I do. This is it. I'm not happy. So I went back to baking after work. So I would go to work, grind, come back, and I'm I'm going to make cupcakes and I'm going to be happy. And
that's so cool.
There was a million desserts everywhere. I would bring them to friends. And the thing that everyone was saying was oh my God, I would pay for these. These are so good. So it kind of got me thinking hey, I like to do it on the side. It's not taking away from my work, even though I don't like what I do. I still need to do a good job at it.
Right.
And so might as well just do it on the side. So in May 2018, I decided to make it a business. I did it on Instagram and I just did it on the side, which is, I think, something that really a lot of people don't know is that you can still pursue something you like while having that security of a job. And that's something that could be the first baby step for someone that's like, oh my God, I need to support my family, or I have student loans and I need an income. So pursuing something that you love that makes you happy on the side can ultimately turn into the business that you're looking for. You just have to take that baby step.
I literally love that whole situation. Like, let's back up for a second. Something you said that really stuck out to me right away was just you realizing that you didn't like your job.
Yeah.
I think that it's tough but also still sticking it out and starting this passion on the side without just being like, screw this, bye, I'm leaving. Like, you had a responsibility, you had to have this job, but you were like, I know that there's something better out there. I know there's something greater for me. That is really powerful, I think, because I think a lot of people who are in that position don't even believe or think or realize that there is something better out there. And that, like, this can't be life. So it's kind of, I find it really inspiring and cool that you, like, knew right away. You're like, nope, this is not life, but I got to do this right now and I'm going to stick it out. And actually me as well, when I started YouTube, I had a full-time job.
Right.
I completely was, working my little butt off because I had to, and I wasn't ready yet to be its own business. But same kind of thing. I enjoyed making videos, so I just did. I just made videos. And yes, I started hoping, okay, like, this could be a business. This could be a future career. But at the time, it was like I had to grind. Same as you.
Exactly.
I love that advice. Like, sometimes you do have to you can't just jump out of it right away.
Right.
But taking the baby step to get there.
Yeah. And to your point about going into something being like, this is going to be a multi-million-dollar company, or hey, I just want to do it on the side for fun. That's kind of how I started Fluff Cups. It was like, I just like baking. Might as well sell it because the advice is don't do anything you're good at for free.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's great advice.
So that was, I was good at baking. So I was like, I'm going to charge you for this cake and you're going to love it. And then you're going to buy another cake from me.
Yeah.
And then, at that point, I was just doing what I liked and the money came. And even if it's not enough money for your living situation, like, do it until it gets there. And then that's when, like, the fork in the road is when you can choose, hey, it's time, I'm making the money, I'm comfortable or I'm confident I will get there. Or, hey, like, this may just be something that I do in conjunction with a job that gives me the money I need. And then, build it. There's
that is the perfect way to explain that. And I feel like that's exactly what happened to me as well. And, whenever people ask me, I get messages a lot that say, like, what are your tips for starting a YouTube channel? And the number one thing I say is start it because you want to make videos. Start it for the right reason. Because if you're not passionate about something, it won't grow because you won't want to do it. You'll be in the same situation. If you're just like, oh, I just want like followers or I just want money, you're not going to actually want to do it and stick with it. It's not going to be fun for you. So you want to actually like it, but then also, you're doing it because it's a hobby for you. You're not necessarily intending on it being a business. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. Yeah. And I think you went into that with the right attitude. And we even talk about it with like manifestation and things like that, about letting go of the outcome and letting go of the how and when something will happen. So if you're sitting there from the start being like, why isn't this a business yet? I need this to pay me more. Why isn't it? It's resisting. It's harder for it to actually happen versus if you're like, I like baking, so I'm going to do this. Yeah. And then it actually just starts unfolding and working for you. I think that's such a great mentality. Yeah. That's awesome. What a story. So that's what inspired you. And by the way, you guys, the Fluff Cups Instagram, it's at Fluff Cups. So if you want to, not if you're driving, but if you want to pull it up while you're listening and check her out, feel free. So I was going to ask you, and you kind of already covered it, like when you started the Instagram account, was it with the intention of starting a business, or was it also with the intention of sharing your love for food? And because I know, like, I watch tasty videos and food videos, and I suck at cooking, and I don't want to cook, and I won't ever cook, but like I like watching the videos. Right. And I know you were saying there's kind of two sides of the business. Yeah, absolutely. So I actually started the Instagram because Fluff Cups is an online business through social media, which is primarily just Instagram. There's a Facebook page and Pinterest, but mostly get my business from Instagram. Mm-hmm. So I actually started it in the hopes that people would come to me for orders. Right. And then, I would post the content of, hey, this is the cupcake I made, or like, this is the cake and I want to do this. And ultimately it was for the business, but
in conjunction with I love what I'm making, so I want to share it with the world, which is kind of society now. You know, just like, what are you doing at all times?
Oh my gosh, I know.
So I started seeing some traction really soon after posting because people want to see authenticity. They want to be along with the journey. So it was a new business. It was competing with Susie Cakes and Sweet Lady Jane's and things around LA that like everyone knows and everyone goes to. And I was young and really excited and I was hustling and people just cared. They were like, oh my God, what are you making now? Or, well, what do you think about this? How do you make this? And so I started to see a following grow within 4 months. And then it's been about a year now and I'm to 13,000 followers on Instagram, which is an amazing community.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh. Especially like nowadays, I feel like an Instagram follower is valuable. I mean,
totally.
It's with so much content out there and how saturated everything is. Like when you actually get those audience members that are like, I want to be here, I want to engage, that's a huge, huge accomplishment.
Absolutely.
And that's like really exciting. And I want to get into in a little, not quite yet, like how did you build that and you know, how that went down. Actually, yeah, let's talk about that. Like when did you notice that it started growing?
Yeah. So actually, I remember almost like to the day because I was so invested in my baking and like getting better at the bakes I was doing. So it was about Memorial Day of 2018. I had made one of my first cakes because I was like strictly cupcakes. And now I do a bunch. I've very much expanded my repertoire, but it was one of my first cakes and I posted it and it got so much love and so many questions and comments and great job or how do I do this? I want to make it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so it was very soon after I started it started the Instagram that I started to see the following. And to the contrary to popular belief, like I was on Instagram all the time. So it didn't just grow itself where someone liked my photo, I commented a few times. Like I was on it constantly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to grow the business. It was because I loved the community. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, how does it happen within that short period of time? And it's like, I literally didn't do anything.
Yeah, you were just
except
genuinely being there. Yeah, because I was going to ask you like, okay, were you using all these like hashtags? Everyone's always trying to get these tips and tricks and hacks. And it's like, like authenticity, it all comes down to that, what you just said. It's like you genuinely wanted to be a part of the community. You were contributing to the community and you were finding others who also were, and they were wanting to contribute to your engagement. And
exactly.
That's so, and authenticity I've definitely found to be so important. I mean, it always has been, but I've definitely noticed a shift in the last, because I started about 4 years ago and I noticed a shift in the last couple of years where instead of, I think in the past, people liked these glamorized like views of life. Like if I posted a picture on a red carpet, it was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Right.
Now it's like people would rather see a picture of me in zit cream than me on a red carpet. It's like no one cares anymore about this like unattainable life. It's like I want to see what is attainable. What is your life like now? What's relatable? What's authentic?
Right.
And that's what people love, which I'm so happy that it went in that direction because I mean, I'm a freaking weirdo, but also, I mean, it just makes the content out there a lot more genuine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because also in the food community, everyone cares about food styling. Like, okay, we're going to set up this shoot. I'm going to drizzle this chocolate on the top and like you're never going to get this photo again. Ever.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah, wait, so how does that work then if you're like being authentic but you want the photos to look good? Because you post like some beautiful photos.
Thank you.
So how do you like manage that kind of having it like look really good but you're not trying to be this perfectionist?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I did go through a phase recently of, hey, I need to style these photos. Like I need to be that food blog to get those followers and I need to post it like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful, amazing, it's going to taste amazing thing ever. I know my goods taste good and I know my photos, regardless of if they're styled or not, look good. So I'm like, I don't need to take that extra time to take that perfect photo. Like if I'm delivering a box of cupcakes, I'm going to take a great photo of that cupcake box and then I'm going to go deliver it so my customers can be happy. Like I don't need to spend that time styling it because that's not who I am. That's not the business. That's not Tess. That's definitely just kind of going with the flow of Instagram and, you know, conforming to what everyone else wants.
That's so important, I think, too. Okay, I've now probably said this on the podcast like 100 times, so I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going to say it again. The laws of success are universal, and I want to say that because what you just said, you're saying, I want to make the customer happy. That's my business. you are impacting people positively. And whether the picture looks amazing or a little less than amazing is not the point. And I think on social media, especially, we live in this alternate universe where it's not real. It's not real. Like,
absolutely.
If you're taking this styled, amazing photo and then you're like throwing away the cupcake, like that's not your real business. So
absolutely.
when you're impacting people, I always say like impact generates income. So if your main motivator is impact, you want to change people's lives, you want to help people, you want to give people bomb cupcakes, that is what will ultimately generate income. You have happy customers. If you're just out there for the income, maybe you sell 100 rather than 10, but all 100 people aren't that like stoked on them. That's not going to do your business any good.
Exactly.
So yeah, I totally get that. I love it. This is great. You're such a genuine, authentic person. I think like people can definitely learn a lot from you. And it sounds like the whole process has been very, very organic. Like
it has.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Didn't expect any of it to happen, but I'm here and I'm ready to see where it goes, you know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get into some of like the struggles that you have faced, or maybe some of the questions that, you know, you've asked yourself, like where is this going? Like, I know that with anything in life, there are struggles and there are, quote, failures. I would love to talk about those a little bit. Do you feel as though throughout this process, I guess it's only been really a year,
right?
And I'm sure it's evolved and changed already so much in a year. Do you have any moment, like challenges that you've had to overcome already, or things you're struggling with right now?
Yeah. So yes, there are so many struggles. I would say that there's been more failures than there has been successes, which is like the perfect example of a starting business. Like nothing goes right. You know, you show the great things of your business, but no one knows what happens behind the scenes, which is like chaos all the time.
Yep.
You can be as organized as you want, but shit's gonna happen. So one of the things that I have experienced, and I experience all the time specifically because it's an Instagram-based business, is competition. But like, I make my own competition. As in, I compare myself to the other bakers or anyone else who's doing really well, because that cake looks amazing, but you don't know what the back of the cake looks like, you know? You show your best self on Instagram, you show your best product on Instagram.
Absolutely.
So that's been really hard to just overcome and to remember, like, your stuff looks great too. People like what you're doing. You're not her or you're not him. Your stuff looks different. It'll taste different. Just because they're saying they're doing all these things doesn't mean that's happening. And you can't compare your business to someone else's or their struggles with your struggles, because completely different.
And we don't know what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And that's, oh my gosh, that is so important. I love that. And I'm going to tell you some struggles that I've had. But before we do that, we're going to take a really quick break. We will be right back. All right, and we're back. Hello. Glad you didn't go anywhere. But yeah, so we were just talking about the struggle of comparing yourself. And I think that's so relevant just in so many ways, especially with social media.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, what's interesting is when I started this podcast, that was something that went through my head all the time. All the business podcasts that I listen to are these 7-figure, 8-figure, like millionaire executives, CEOs, self-made entrepreneurs. And when me titling this podcast, Self-Made CEO, you know, I titled it that because I am a CEO. Okay, I run and operate my own business. I'm self-employed, and I'm proud of that.
Yes.
I don't care that I'm not the CEO of Snapchat. Like, I started something and I run it. So I was like, no, I am this. This is me. And I realized, because some people would question me and be like, well, what, like CEO, like what? You're not, you don't work at a business. And I'm like, yo, let's redefine what this means. And also what it really comes down to is that I know that this is my identity and this is what I have done. And I am choosing to identify as a self-made CEO because that is what I am. And if other people want to poop on that, that's fine. You can. But I would look at all these other business podcasts and all these entrepreneurs, and there was always that question of credibility. Like, the questions that would come up in my head is, I'm like, well, who's going to listen to me when, you know, I only have 400,000 on YouTube, not 10 million, or well, who's going to listen to me if I don't have a 7-figure business and I don't have 30 employees? But then I realized, like, it doesn't matter. Those are those people's lives. This is my life. And the information, the lessons, the relatability, like the struggles that I still go through and the things I've already learned are going to help people.
Yes.
It might not be the same people as, the audience of those, or it could be the same, but it's coming at it from a different angle, and it's not worth comparing myself to those people. I'm not those people.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I don't have something cool and special going on. And that sounds like that's kind of what you were thinking as well.
Yeah. And to that point, it's actually discouraging, I think. Like, I'm reading Oprah Winfrey's book right now, and I love it, but I'm also like, you're Oprah. Like, it's about finding your purpose. And I'm like, yeah, but like, you're Oprah.
Like, I'm not going to be you.
So it's like there's one Oprah in this world. So I'm like, well, what about the people who are on their journey now? Like, I am so inspired by Christina Tosi and Candace Nelson, and like they are the boss bitches of this industry. And I'm like, hell yeah. But you're already there. You already made it. So it's so hard. Like, I want to be you, but I also want to know, well, what's someone going through at the bottom?
Right.
Because that's so much more relatable, because you can turn back after you've made millions of dollars and be like, it's going to work out. It's fine. And you're like, I don't know if I believe you. Is it going to be fine?
It is. It's hard to believe it. Especially, I think, when those people's breaks happened like a long time ago. Because you're like, but like, sure, maybe you had a similar story to me, but it doesn't feel as relatable now because that was probably a long time ago, and it's a different time now.
Yeah.
And, no, I totally feel you on that. I do think, and it all comes back down to authenticity and just being relatable, and it's okay to mess up. It's
Absolutely.
Okay. Sometimes I mess up on this podcast, and it is okay. It's okay to like not be perfect. And I think that's actually what most of the messages I get about this podcast are actually about how I'm not this like crazy successful millionaire CEO. It's actually about how I'm not that, and how that's what they like.
Yeah.
And how, same exact thing. Oh, I love that. So I know that we've talked a little bit like off microphone about some of your, I don't want to call them struggles, but you evolving your business from just orders into some other type of content, maybe Instagram content where you go into restaurants or you do other types of paid work. And I know it's been tough kind of navigating how to transition into that.
Right.
Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So within this year, people have wanted to know where I go in LA, so I'm a professionally trained pastry chef. And so with that credibility comes, well, where's your favorite dessert place? And I could eat 20 cookies in one sitting. And I've done it multiple times. And
I have to, except gluten-free.
So people are like, well, where's your favorite cookie place, cake place, etc. So it's turned into, at the same time getting orders, but, what are your recommendations, or how do I make this cake better? Or what are the techniques you use to achieve XYZ? And it's evolved naturally in that way based on just the content I post and the engagement I get and, me reaching out to my community, because it's like, well, I want to know what you want to see, because this is Instagram. You have to be relevant and authentic at the same time. So what do you want? Let me give you what you want.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to basically give my followers and give my community what they're looking for. So in the future and moving forward, if Fluff Cups just, stays as, hey, I need 5 dozen cupcakes and 3 dozen macarons, great, I'm going to do that. But if people are more in tune to blog posts and recommending a restaurant, or social advertising for restaurants, R&D for restaurants, then that's amazing, and that's, what I want to do, and I'm okay with the path it's taking.
Right.
And I think that's one of the other things. You need to go into your business with a strategy, of course. Don't haphazardly do things. Know what you want, know what your goal is. But if things change, that's okay, as long as you're okay with it. As long as you're doing something that makes you happy and it's changing directions, need to embrace that.
And I will say too, for those of you who maybe are scared to even just take the leap to start something, you won't get this kind of feedback that she's talking about without putting it out there first. You can't know what people even want unless you have put something out there to begin with. And I think sometimes I even find myself wrapped up in having the perfect plan, the perfect strategy. I need to map everything out before, instead of just doing it and then mapping it out as I go. Like, oh, okay, this didn't work so well. Let me alter that. Oh, people actually really loved this. Wow, I wouldn't have expected that. Okay, I'll do more of this. But I wouldn't know that without putting it out there to begin with. And that's something that I've really tried to work on, is like, just put it out there. Just do it. Because you want to give the people what they want. Yeah, as long as you're happy with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And so where do you think, I mean, I know you're saying like it can evolve a lot and it can change a lot. God, I think about like me last year. I didn't think I'd have a podcast. Hi guys, I'm here. I love this. But you know, what would be like if you had a dream situation right now with Fluff Cups or with your life, like your day-to-day, your business, what would it be? What does that look like?
That's such a good question. So as I mentioned, I do still have a full-time job. So Fluff Cups is done on the side and I love it and it makes me happy. So I would like to get to that point where I can have that choice in the fork of the road.
Yes.
Fork in the road?
Yep.
Hello.
You can take the fork either way you want.
Yeah. Just a fork.
Just a fork to eat the cupcake with.
And be able to decide I want to do Fluff Cups full time. And what I would love is to be a chef / personality. I don't like that word because it's too broad.
Right.
But I would love to engage with my community, give them what they want, and be able to help others in whatever that means in the food space and obviously what I have expertise in. So I would love to help people build their restaurant, whether that's food creation or some social advertising, if that's providing cupcakes and other things. I keep saying cupcakes. I do a lot of other things.
Yeah. but you love the cups.
But I love cupcakes.
The Fluff Cups.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, where I would want this to be if I had my dream come true.
Yeah.
That's what I would do on a daily basis.
And I noticed on Instagram even like you've started weaving yourself into your brand kind of, and I'm sure, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like your brand for a while was like just your baking and just your food, and beautiful, by the way, pictures of your food.
Thank you.
But then, you know, I remember us talking and you saying, I want to make myself known as, you know, this brand before it gets to be only this, right?
Yes.
Like you want to start having people know who are you.
Right.
And they can also attach to you better that way and attach to the brand.
Yeah. So I wanted to, it was before I hit 10,000 followers because people would, I posted a couple photos of myself with a cake because I was excited about it or whatever. I was holding it. I was like, here. And people really responded well because it was like, hey, you're the baker behind all of these desserts. And it was, you know, this is a representation of me. It's my creativity in these desserts. No one will make something like what I do because they're going to put their own flair on it. So I liked showing who I was and then people understanding my bakes better because they saw my face.
Right.
And that also in turn made it so, hey, I'm a chef. Like, look, this is what I do.
Yeah, it's like a natural person I can connect to.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to bring myself into it because I also am not just a baker. Like, you're never just your business. So I care about so many other things like self-care, mindfulness, health, nutrition, which is funny because I bake really gluttonous desserts, but that's part of, you know, balance.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show people, hey, like, I'm more than just this chef. I can do a bunch of things and I can bring a lot of positivity into your life, not just through my bakes. So I kind of wanted it to be a wholesome, this is Tess, who owns Fluff Cups, who likes this, and I eat pizza a lot. Like, you know, I wanted it to be.
I love it. Yeah. No, it's your whole self. It's not just one thing. And I think especially on social media, we can get stuck in these kind of niche areas where we're like, wait, I don't want to be put in a box. And you know, you're thinking, oh, I only can post this and like anything else will not get any likes or engagement. Yeah. But I think you have such a good attitude about it because you're like, no, actually, I think the more that I can show who I am at my fullest potential, like everyone latches onto that way more than they would if it was just one thing.
Yeah.
Because you're a real human and you have these other interests.
Yeah.
And the more people get to know this now, they're like, oh, wait, I love you and your cupcakes, but you.
And you're going to gain a better community because there's so many people who are like, I don't want to see your face. I just want to look at your cake. And I'm like, okay, but then you know,
maybe you're
bye.
not. But
So
totally.
You may lose followers, you may lose some business, but you're going to gain the people who you really want
That's a
to
really
be your
good
customers.
point. Yeah. Yeah, that's That's awesome. I love that. That's definitely something with YouTube that's kind of a struggle, is like when you branch out of your typical kind of content, it may get fewer views or whatever, but the people that you hit are the people who really care.
Yeah.
And those people will stick with you whether you post a video of you sitting in a dumpster or you post a video of you doing whatever you normally do. It's like, yeah, I love that. The community building aspect is definitely cool. You know what I could also see you doing? And this is funny. I feel like my business, Self-Made CEO, I feel like is ultimately, I just have this feeling, this gut feeling and prediction that it's ultimately going to turn into me coaching people on creating lucrative online businesses, because every time someone talks about their passion, like the way you are right now, and what they want to do and the fact that they want to help people, like my first instinct always is just to go to like, oh my gosh, they should have like an online program and a course and webinar where they like have a class, but it's online. So she can just make it once and then people pay for it. And then she can like do live thing. Like my brain is already going all sorts of places in that direction, which by the way, I think, have you ever thought, down the line of doing something like that? Because you were saying a lot of people want, ask questions about, well, how do you make your cakes? How do you do this? Have you ever thought to do like an online course or an online program that's like, hey, I'll teach you in 3 hours, 10 videos, how to make the perfect cake or whatever?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it. I thought about starting a YouTube because a lot of bakers will do like time-lapse videos or here's a recipe, kind of like the tasty videos you're saying. So stuff like that I've definitely thought about. I need to definitely just flesh it out more to make sure I'm giving the best content. But if I am planning soon to ask my followers those types of questions, like what other platforms do you want to see me on? If it's YouTube, if it's Patreon or something else, like I'm open to all of it. I would love to teach people. I love helping people. I love motivating people.
Oh, same. I love this. No, this is like, it's perfect. No, I feel that. That sounds, and it's like, you won't know this minute, you're going with the flow, which I also think is important. You're not putting too many stakes on one thing. You're not, you're just doing it because you like it, and you will see where it goes and you will alter it as you need to.
Exactly.
And that I think is the best way to operate a business.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask, for those out there who maybe are in a similar position, maybe in any industry, but they want to start something, whether it is an Instagram account, a business, anything, and they're just not quite confident to take that first step, or, whether it's because they have a lot of negative self-talk, like no one's going to want to hear from me, or, whether they just don't really know where to start. What's your advice for someone in that position?
Yeah. Well, take it from me because I'm literally the most pessimistic person, and I try every day to like get out of it and be positive. And I'm risk averse. Like I don't like taking risks. So I think you can definitely take a page out of my book and do it on the side. Like just start it. There's nothing that if it fails, like you have a job or you have something else that you are going to fall back on.
Yeah.
So there's nothing at this point that can stop you other than yourself.
Yep.
So that's number one. And number two, I mean, back to your point of, the negative self-talk or believing that they can't do it. This goes for at any stage of your business or life in general. Your family, mom, dad, brother, sister, boyfriend, wife, husband, they can tell you that you're going to rule the world and that you can do anything you want. But if you don't tell yourself that, you will not. There is absolutely no way that you're going to be able to do something if you don't believe in yourself.
Yes, 100%. That's like my main motto is like, you got to believe it. That's all. That's your only job.
That's it.
Your only job is to believe it.
Because if you believe it, you will do anything it takes to make it happen.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if someone's like, you can't do this. You're like, yeah, I can, because you know you can. And of course, people are going to try to knock you down at every stage.
Always.
But it doesn't matter because you're like, nope, I know what I'm doing. It sounds like your values and what you think lines up a lot with mine. I talk about that all the time. Your only job is to believe that you can literally accomplish anything or start anything. And because you can. You literally can. You just have to know that, you know what? Whatever happens, cool, whatever.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to do this. I'm doing it. And I'm taking it one day at a time, taking baby steps. So I encourage all of you right now, if you're thinking about creating that side hustle, if you're thinking about creating that account or making those videos or doing anything, start changing your major because you realize you don't like yours or whatever it is, just do it and believe that it's going to work out and believe that you can do it, because that's really your only job.
Yeah.
It's your only job. Dang. Whoa. Feeling inspired already. Well, is there anything else that we should know about Fluff Cups? How do we find you on the gram? I guess I already said, at Fluff Cups.
Yes, at Fluff Cups. I have a website, fluffcups.net. Very old school with the .net.
Ooh, .net.
Bring me back to the
I love that. Fluffcups.net. Okay.
My Pinterest, Fluff Cups. Just search Fluff Cups. You'll find me. I would love to engage with all of you. Like, ask me anything.
Yeah, go hit her up.
Yeah.
Honestly, and especially if you're into that. Wait, I have a question. This just came to my head randomly because I was thinking about your beautiful photos on the gram. What like inspires, do you ever get like, what am I saying? What inspires the types of creations you're making?
Yeah.
Like, do you just think of something one day randomly like, ooh, strawberry? Like, you can tell, guys, I'm not a cook or a baker or anything of the sort.
Yeah, so I definitely come up with my own flavor combinations, but I do like the classics. So it's like chocolate peanut butter. Like, obviously I didn't come up with that myself. But the designs, if you take a look at my creations or any baker's creations, they have a tone to it because it's like, it's them. Like I said, it's like your creativity. So I'll take inspiration from anything. Like, I could be walking down the street and see a flower and be like, wow, those colors are beautiful. I want to make a cake like that. Or it smells like lemongrass. I'm gonna make something lemon today.
Wait, that's cool. Do you like keep a note on your phone or something of like when you find things?
Yeah. Wow. I have running notes and just everything. You can get inspiration from anyone, anything. Any second of your day, there's something that can inspire you to create something or, you know, think differently. And that's,
And if you're someone who's walking around having a lot of those thoughts like, wow, this inspired me. Like, that used to be me before I even made videos. Everything that would happen in real life was like, oh, that'd be a funny sketch, or like, oh, that would be a funny video. I kept thinking those things, and all of a sudden I was like, why do I always think about videos? Like, maybe I should like do something about that. I don't know. But it's true. Like, if your instinct is to start thinking, like, you're inspired by something, you should do it. Yeah. Because it means your creativity is the highest right then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, cool. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we got to talk. I'm just so in awe of first of all, how recent this all has been.
Yeah.
How quickly you grew a following and how authentic it is. Like, you grew a community so genuinely, so organically. And I also just love, you say you're pessimistic and I'm like, girl, what? No, you're like the most, your mindset about all of this, you're like, you know what? It is what it is. I just want to make people happy. I just want to go with the flow. I just think that everyone should embody that mindset. And you're just like, it'll happen if it's supposed to happen, the way it's supposed to happen.
Right.
I just love that whole mentality. And I think that you're going to go on to do incredible things. You guys, when you see her have her own freaking Netflix show about baking, like, don't be shocked because that's probably going to happen. But anyway, is there anything else you want to leave this episode with? I'm like, I don't want to go.
I know, me either. You're inspiring. Like,
oh my gosh.
This podcast is amazing. Aww. I'm so excited that I'm on it. I am here to help any listener who is trying to start a small business too, or just wants some motivation. Like, I'm here. You know, we're all part of it. Yeah, part of growing.
We are. Honestly. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Yes. You're the best. This is amazing. And it also goes to show you guys, like, a lot of, everything we talk about on this podcast too goes for any industry.
Yeah.
Like, she's in the food industry or the baking industry. I'm in the, like, video creation and other kind of industry. But, you know, these are all things that are applicable to every part of your life and every part of whatever industry you want to get into. So I hope that you guys could take something away from this. I'm so happy. Congrats to me and you for being the first case study episode. I'm pumped, and I can't wait to see where this goes in the future. Like, we are only at the baby steps. So you and I are going to have to get together a year from now and do round 2, and we're going to see how far you've come.
Hell yeah.
We're going to see where your business is at then. That is for sure what we're going to do. Wow, this is great. I'm just coming up with this series as like, oh, I love it. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thanks for all the support. Remember, it helps out a ton when you subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Listen to it on any platform where you like to listen to podcasts. And you can always hit me up via the gram. I don't know why I'm calling it the gram today. I've been saying that. I usually just say Instagram.
To be honest.
Well, thanks. Good. Great. But you can always follow me over on Instagram at Adrienne Finch or at The Self-Made CEO. And feel free to, whenever you want, email in any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, love, anything, memes to the Self-Made CEO podcast at gmail.com. I love you guys. This is great. I will catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.